Hey buddy, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this Extreme Warfare Revenge series. My name is Andy, the uncommentator for episode number, no idea, 26 maybe, 27, something like that, of this series. And you can see there, we are currently on the 22nd of July 2025. I'm recording this on the 6th of October 2025, so getting further and further behind real time. Speaking of real time, I've not really got anything to comment or say. I don't know what the hell's going on in the real world of wrestling, but that's not important. What is important is what's going to take place in this fictional world of wrestling, and that is going to be the next two shows. So two shows video. We're going to stick with that theme. It seems to be working up to now. Yeah, so we're going to be doing the next two episodes of our weekly shows. So the next episode of Disruption and the next episode of Liberty, not in that order, as we start the build to our August event, which I have now put in the calendar, which I had not done in the last video, but it's now called Paradise Riot, and it's going to be taking place on August the 29th, so more than a month's build to go for that show. I'm hoping between now and then we go from regional to cult, which will be a nice thing. But yeah, Paradise Riot. So Paradise Rot is actually a book. And yeah, I thought just, stick an eye on it, and still book related, like some of the other things that we've, some of the other shows we've done. War Without Peace, obviously, War and Peace. You get the idea. Anyway, yeah, so our next show is going to be tomorrow on the 23rd, the next episode of Liberty, and then, yep, going to next week, we're going to be doing the next episode of Disruption. But let's get on with it, instead of me rabbiting on about Paradise Rot and other books that hardly anyone's heard of. No offense to whoever wrote that book, but maybe lots of people have heard of it. I don't know. Anyway, here we are on the 23rd. No emails to catch up on. So let's just have a quick recap of where we left the booking at the end of the last video. So the last video we did our July event, Exordium. That was the card. I'm not going to go over it again. And then we left the booking as follows. So Shark Boy challenged EC3 to a match. EC3 had him carted away by security. Speaking of Carter, Darius lost to Zicky Dice. The Friendship Express even did an interview. Chris Dickinson kicked Ryan Galeone, whatever to call him's butt, and then he called out Dave Christ after Dave Christ cost him his match against Patrick Clark. And Dave Christ decided not to answer. Yuki did an interview talking about Mina Shirakawa for the 7 millionth time. Joe Hendry and Chuck O'Neill thanked each other for, well, Joe thanked Chuck for helping him out. And then the main event, Get Tree's Hands beat the Bullet Club War Dogs team of Chase Owens and Clark Connors, but then after the match, David Finlay and Bad Luck Farley decided to beat Get Tree's Hands up. So that was the last show, just the fallout from Exordium, and now we're going to really motor on and look forward rather than behind as we start the build to Paradise Riot. I'm going to start that off with an angle, because we don't like to, if you're the one person that follows this series, you'll know that we don't like to book matches on our weekly show. We like to fill it with angles. I'm going to kick things off with a bit of insult trading, actually. So it's going to be Zicky Dice and Jake Atlas. So Zicky Dice would come out, Jake Atlas would interrupt him, and then they just do a few back and forth. Obviously, Jake accusing Zicky of being homophobic and making jokes about him having a drug problem, basically, and things like that. So, close to the knuckle stuff, but they just start the build to the match that's inevitably going to take place at Paradise Riot, which we haven't booked officially yet, but it's fairly obvious where we're going. And then, it's not Groundhog Day. I'm going to do this match, or this thing one more time. And it's Chris Dickinson against Ryan Galeone, and for the second show in a row, he's just going to motor through him and then call out Dave Christ after. So the commentators can just say something like, oh, Ryan wanted a rematch, now Chris has calmed down, he thinks he'll fare better or something. I don't know, words to that effect, but in the end, or inevitably maybe, Dickinson just beats him up. And then, as I mentioned, he grabs the microphone and challenges Dave Christ, who doesn't come out. Of course, Dave Christ, the latest member of the Blacklist. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then go and watch the previous video. and all will become clear. Moving on from that, we do an interview with a stable this time. They don't normally do one of these. It's going to be Bullet Club War Dogs, and they're going to target. They'll target. It'll be Get-Tree's hands, but we'll focus on Adam Share. And we'll just verbal attack. So we'll just say, you know, you might be big, but we'll beat you up. or something not lame. That's why I employ writers. They can hopefully come up with something better than that. And then we cut back to ringside after that for another interview, but this time it's more of like a piece to camera. So the camera would focus on the announce desk, and specifically EC3 tell the cameraman to focus on him, and then he just cut a promo on Shark by basically saying, you know, you don't come out here making demands. Have you not learned anything over the last few months? I'm in charge, blah blah blah. And he just basically goes off on him and explains that that's why he's not here tonight, because EC3's banned him, so he's not going to get paid tonight because he didn't want to bring him to TV to watch him get beat up. So rather than set some goons onto him, he just says, well, you know, I'm going to hurt you in your bank account and not book you. So you're at home, and if you try and get in, A, you'll not get paid, and B, you'll stay at home longer. He just basically runs him down, essentially. Then his promo's interrupted with the words, say his name and he appears, because it's Joe Hendry coming out for a match, and he's taking on Richard Holiday, which could be fun. And Richard Holiday is unfortunately going to win, and he's going to win by cheating because he's a heel. And that's generally what heels do, so he gets a little bit of heat back. I just had something, distracted myself there. I might change that then. Okay, sorry, I had something planned, and then I've just realised something I'm going to book, which doesn't make any sense to what I've got planned, so I may have to have a rethink. But following on from that, we'll have an interview with Chuck O'Neill, and he will target Richard Holiday. And it's going to be a verbal attack. So I think we've got Lexi in there. The interview lady says, "Well, Chuck, you know, you've just seen your friend lose to Richard Holiday. Have you definitely gone your separate ways now? Were you not tempted to go out there and help?" And then Chuck says, "You know, Joe wants to forge his own career. Joe wants to forge his own path. But even though I didn't like what I saw, I respected that. That's why I didn't go out there. But you know, Richard, why don't you try those? You know." Why don't you try those tactics on me and see what happens, or you know, something like that. Again, that's why I employ writers, because they don't come up with lame things like that. If you can hear a little squeaking noise, by the way, it's my laptop's sort of propped up, and the thing that it's propped up on is making a squeaking noise. If you can't hear it, then just ignore what I've just said. But anyway, following on from that, we get Adam's angle. We don't get Adam's angle. Now, if you don't know, now I'm going to have to improvise here. I might get rid of that last interview. Right, basically, Adam's angle. If you don't, so the guy that wrote the code for this, the guy that basically wrote this game, Adam Ryland, he built something into the game where. He built. Actually, no. I tell you what I'll do. He built something into the game where there's two angles that you can only. There's two angles you can only book once a year. There's something, I think it's called Christmas Brawl, which you can only book on Christmas Day, no prizes for guessing. And then there's something else called Adam's Angle, and you can only book it once. And it must be. I didn't know the date, but it must be whatever date we're on at the minute. It's something. I don't know, whatever date it's whatever date it is in July, you can only book it once. So 23rd, I think we're on. So we're gonna book it basically. That not now, but that's Adam's angle. Yeah. So that's completely thrown me. I wasn't expecting that at all. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, there's 2 things you only book once, but once a year, and that's one of them. So we're gonna book it. But we're not gonna do it yet. We're gonna stick to what I was going to do. It's gonna be 2 partners hanging out, sort of. So it's gonna be Yuki and Mina Shirakawa. So after Chris Dickinson's match, Mina's backstage doing whatever she's doing. Yuki comes up to her, sort of taps on the shoulder. Mina turns around, like, startled as though she's going to attack her. And then Yuki says, no, it's me. Please, can we talk? You know, you seem to be in a different place than you were for the last few months. I don't know if it's hanging out with Chris or what it is, but please, I just want to talk. I just want to find the old Mina. I know she's in there. And Mina sort of is a bit mute and a bit quiet, but she agrees to talk to her, basically. And then they go into Mina's dressing room and they disappear. And that's the end of that one. Then we're going to follow that up with another tag team match. And it's going to be the Bullet Club War Dogs in action once again. So it's going to be Mac 10 and Atomic Super Thunder Frog taking on the team of Clark Connors. But this time his partner is Bad Luck Fale or Fale. I know it's pronounced Fale, for anybody here. In case somebody other than the one person that follows this series watches this video, don't comment. I know it's Fale. And they are going to win because, unfortunately, Mac 10 and Atomic Super Thunder Frog are pretty much just here to lose. So Fale can pin Thunder Frog, and you can do it once again. We'll get some interference from the War Dogs, so it's Finlay and Chase Owens. And then, you know what? I haven't booked this, but go on, we'll do it. Oh, will we? No, we won't, actually. No Aftermath. And... okay, actually, yeah, there is an Aftermath. The thing is, if I book this, he's going to lose overness. Sorry, I'm just thinking. That Adams angle's really thrown me. Okay, what I'll do is, we'll go failed save, and we'll just put Grizzly Redwood in. But it would be Grizzly Redwood. I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. Taking far too long to book this. Built to a future match. Yep, that's fine. So, we'll go for the... I mean, it's a total VIA, but we're gonna have to do this Adams angle. So, and it can be Adam share, so it can be Adam meet Adam, the 2 Adams coming together to meet each other. So what would happen? Basically, what would happen is, I mean, if this isn't real, it was completely stupid. But so the tag match would happen. War Dogs would win. The other War Dogs would run in, and then Grizzly Redwood and actually, you know what? No, I haven't used him, have I? Well, just realised. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, okay, we're going to change that. I didn't want to remove... oh, flipping... edit that out. I'll edit all this out, don't worry. Right, let's put this tag match back in. I thought I'd use Adam Share earlier, but I haven't. He just got mentioned in an interview, didn't he? So... so it's going to be... yeah, so we'll stick to Mac 10 and Atomic Super Thunder Frog. Against Clark Connors and Bad Luck Fale. I'm sorry about this, but like I said, we'll edit all this out so it'll look nice and slick. Fale pins the Frog because of Finlay and Owens running in. And then Grizzly and Adam do run in for the save. And that builds up a future match potentially. And then, I don't know why I took it out. So as they're leaving, what would happen then is some random guy. I mean, WWE like, you know, shoving a celebrity on camera, even though quite a lot of the time I don't know what it is, but that's probably because I'm English rather than American. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just shove a celebrity on that no one knows. And it's going to be, yep, Adam Scher. So Adam meets Adam. So as they're leaving the ring, as they've chased off Bullet Club War Dogs, as Get-Tree's hands are leaving the ring, Adam bumps into Adam. They have a little funny exchange, I don't know. And yeah, that's it. Then we move on to the main event, which was booked in the last video, which I forgot about. And that's the tag team match between the Friendship Express and the Hatchet Boys. So it's Jervis and the Hobo taking on Two Tough Tony and Corporal Robinson. And they win. The heels, the baddies win. Can pin the Hobo. And again, because they're bad dudes, they can do it by cheating. But this feud's not over, so they can use a weapon or something. So it'll be cheating with a weapon shot, basically, just to yeah. That's how they win, which is important. Anyway, that's the show. So let's get on with it. Of course, we're going for that 60%, and that's a good start. Excellent, Zicky, good stuff. That's what we needed. Okay, another good match between those two. That's probably why I booked it again, actually. And good overall rating, so we're getting a good average. We're getting the average of crowd reaction and match quality, so it should hopefully make for a better show. Cheers, Dave. You didn't actually come on screen, but you gained over us just because somebody talked about you. That's always useful. Could have been better, but they're not the most charismatic bunch of dudes according to this game, so cool, okay. Well, that could have been better. I suppose it could have been worse. That's fine. There we go, you see? This is what we need. Two old friends coming together to go into a locker room. Cool, that was a good match, actually. Clark Connor's stats are really good. So yeah, that was a good match. We'll take that. Let's see what this is. So this is Adam's angle. Let's see what it says. Adam Scher has come down to the ring. Before he can begin, he spots EWR creator Adam Ryland sitting in the front row. He taunts him and calls him out to get in the ring. Adam reluctantly gets in the squared circle. Adam Scher immediately attacks, but Adam blocks the first two punches. This is not quite what I had in mind when I picked this, and ducks out of the way of the third. Adam Scher turns and takes a super kick to the chest. The master of EWR goes to capitalise, but gets poked. He spelt poked wrong. He's written his own angle where he beats everybody up, and he spelt poked wrong. But I wonder if there's any more spelling mistakes on these reports now. I might have a look. But gets poked in the eye. Adam Scher lifts it. Look, let's just highlight it. Let's just make a. Come on, Adam, you've written a great game, but you can't spell poked. Adam Scher lifts him up for a massive body slam. But Adam slips. I suppose body slams are spelled wrong in a way, isn't it? Maybe it should be capitalised. Anyway, but slips out of the back and applies his finisher, the guilt trip, a modified beast choke submission hold. Adam Scher taps out and Adam releases him. He retreats to the back as the Pixies debase comes over the PA system, and Adam poses for the fans. So that's his angle. I'm assuming it's the same every year. I'm assuming it's the same every time you use it. I should say not every year, but. Yeah, interesting. Okay. And then finally, the main event. Let's see if there's any spelling mistakes. I'm gonna very quickly look through this rather than. I'm looking to see if there's an eye poke. That's basically what I'm looking for. Yeah, I see body slam there. See body slam's capitalised there, although it is the start of a sentence. That might be why. Nope, can't see anything. Decent match though, and an overall pretty good show. Excellent stuff. Right, so we're 95%, so we should be getting to cult status very, very soon. 1.16 rating, 218 people came to watch that, rather than stayed at home and watched AW Dynamite, because of course that's who we're up against at the moment with this new and improved Wednesday Night War. Okay, so we'll skip on to Monday. Hopefully Adam's angle made a big difference there. We'll skip on to Monday, book the next show, and then say sayonara. I was hoping this video was going to be under half an hour, but I don't think it's going to be because of all that fannying about I did with Adam's angle. But let's see if we can put this show really quickly. And not. Raw's been renewed. That's a shame. CMLL have fallen to Cult. Fat Phillips has gone to LA Fights, okay. It's a shame Raw's been renewed, actually, because I am seriously tempted to... I'm tempted to try and move that to primetime, Disruption. But if I do, I'll be up against Raw, and I don't think I'll have as much success as them against Dynamite. But you never know. May do. But if Raw hadn't been renewed, then that would have made a primetime slot open for me. Anywho, 20th of July, let's get on with it. So I'm going to try and book this as quick as possible. So I might just book and then explain afterwards rather than talk and book at the same time. Let's see how quick I can do this. So Shark Boy, EC3. So what would happen here? So running table attack, yeah. So the show starts. It looks like, you know, we'll go for the first match and blah 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 blah. And Shark Boy runs. In fact, this is 3 segments all in one. So let's do the booking. And then we'll explain them all. I forgot about that. So yeah, let's just explain what's going on. If you could change, that'd be great. Not Joe Hendry. There we go. Yeah, this is 3 segments all in one. This is it. I mean, I'll do 2 segments in one, but this is a first. 3 segments in one. See how much quicker it is when I don't rab it on, when I just get on with it. Okay, so what happens here? The show starts. The commentators are talking, introducing everybody to the show, and then somebody grabs EC3 from behind. So because he's got his backs to the security rail, somebody grabs him from behind round the neck, jumps over the rail, starts to assault him. Turns out to be Shark Boy. He puts him through the tape, puts him through the announce table, and then we goes to commercial or something. He gets up. He starts to get up. Adnan is, you know, are you okay? You okay? And then EC3 grabs the microphone, gets annoyed, and calls Jonah to come out. Jonah is Bronson Reed. So Jonah comes out, and then he basically, as they go up and said, you know, how useless are you? You know, you're supposed to put Shark on the shelf for good. You're supposed to look after me. Well, you know, I'm going to shove you in the ring. I'm going to put you in the ring with Adam Scherr. Adam Scherr comes out, and they basically have a match. I mean, Adam Scherr's a babyface. He can say something like, you know, I'm not doing this for you. I'm just doing it because I want to kick somebody's ass. And then Adam Scherr beats him up, basically. But then, oh, actually, it's 4 segments in a row. Oh, I went too early. Oh, we were premature there. So, let's... 4 segments all mashed together in one big schmoz. Okay. So it's going to be a quick partner save one. So it's going to be Adam, Grizzly, and we'll say it's Clark. And we'll put Finlay in, why not? So after that match, after the match I've just described, the screen, the Titantron appears. You see Grizzly Redwood getting beaten up by the War Dogs. Adam Scherr gets out the ring. He runs backstage, and he basically scares them off. And that's 4 segments in one, and that's half the show gone. Next up, we're going to have another match. It's going to be the Friendship Express in action once again. It was Jervis Cottonbelly and the Hobo taking on Darius Carter and Ryan Gallione. And let's get back to that. And they are going to win this match because Gallione and Carter are pretty much here to just lose, which is a shame. But after the match, I'm still thinking about Adam's angle. After the match, Toot of Tony and Corporal Robinson attack. Just to keep that feud going. Yeah, so build up to a future match. So they've had a match, but they're going to have another one. That's why they keep fighting. I'm not going to get this done in half. I'm thinking about trying to get this done in half an hour, and I'm not going to do it because I suck. But hey ho, we'll keep going anyway. So video package, hype video for an upcoming match, and that's not quite. It's not been booked yet, but we all know it's going to happen. Basically, it's a recap. It's a recap of Zicky Dice and Jake Atlas, what they've, the words they've exchanged in the fights they've had over the last few weeks. And then finally, so we started with 4 segments all in one. We're going to end with another doppel segment. So it's going to be a 6-man tag main event. And it's going to be Joe Hendry, Chris Dickinson, and Sonny Kiss taking on. So we're going to see Bullet Club War Dogs yet again. It's going to be Bad Luck Fale, Clark Connors, and David Finlay. Don't have many heels, basically, so it kind of has to be these. So it could have been Richard Holiday. I don't know why I didn't use him. Anyway, not that that matters. And the winners are going to be... So Connors can pin Kiss. Ooh, okay then. Aren't you a diva? Farley. Okay, Finlay can pin. I feel like Finlay's not been in a match for a while. Yeah, there we go. Finlay can pin Kiss. And it can be clean, why not? So what would happen is... Actually, well, let's just put the last segment, then I'll explain what's going on. No, it is an angle. Actually, we'll do an interview. With a stable. And it's the Blacklist. And they target Chris Dickinson. And it's like the upcoming match. So yeah, so they have the you'd have the 6-man tag. It would break into a bit of a schmoz. So Hendry and 1 or 2, yeah, they'd fight backstage, but you'd have Dickinson and Case. Ultimately, the lights would go out and there'd be a bit of a distraction. The Bullet Club orders would take advantage, and then as people were going backstage, the Blacklist would appear on the video screen, and they'd say, you'd have Patrick Clark there, in his ostentatious throne. You'd have Mandy Rose and Sexy Dulce wafting in with palm leaves, and he'd be there with his gold goblet or something, and then he'd just sit there saying something like, "Hey, Chris, you've seemed really angry these last few weeks. Is that because you lost to me at Exordium? Because you know what, Chris, don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad about losing to me. I'm a superior being. I train with the best facilities. I've got these 2 lovely ladies here to cater for my every need, and you could be a part of that. And maybe once you've calmed down a little bit, you'll really think about that. But until that moment, I know why you're angry. You're angry because I blindsided you. I lured you into what you thought was going to be a fair fight, and in reality, I had some muscle lined up. Because look at you, Chris. You've got plenty of muscle. You've got lots of. You've got a great physique, and well, I've got a great physique too. You know what? I admit, I'm not quite as big as you. I'm not as strong as you. So I needed to outsmart you, and I outsmarted you with this guy, Dave Chris. And then Dave Chris walks. He's stood in the shadows, and he stands behind Patrick Clark. And I know you're angry. I know you're going to get your hands on him, but you've got your hands on me now, haven't you? And that doesn't quite just sit right with me. So, when you've calmed down, we'll have a chat. We'll have a conversation about what I can do for you and what you can do for me, and let's settle this once and for all. I've beaten you. I've proved to you I'm the better man. But I'm missing Mina. You've got something I want, and ultimately I've probably got something you want. So let's get our heads together, and when the time's right, and we'll sort this out. And then he snaps his fingers. The screen goes black, and then the show ends. And we're not going to get to the half-an-hour stage, but hey ho, let's see how good this show was. Hopefully that long description will make it better. Cool, yeah, that's fine. Good, that's not what that was intended, but we'll take it. That was a good match considering the sluggish bit. Any spelling mistakes? Can't see any. After just quickly looking. That wasn't the intention, but I was expecting it. Well, the second bit was. The first bit wasn't. What word was it now that was spelt? I'm trying to remember what word was spelt wrong now. I can't remember what it was. I want to say choke, but it wasn't, was it? It wasn't. It was something like that, though. Anyway. I'm just going to move on. If I skip something, I think I don't know if I skipped something. Anyway, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. Don't think we did. That was a good match. 72% for a 6-man tag's pretty good. And oh, you see that long description, 87% segment, all because of that. All because of my my long description. Well, there we go. 69%, one of the best shows we've done in terms of a rating, mainly because of that last segment, of course. Right, ooh, they've fired the Simon, head of the Simon system, so clearly it wasn't good enough. Right, so before we get to the next show, so actually, no, we're going to have one more show. Sorry, I meant to say before we get to the end of the month, before we get to next month, we're going to have one more show. So quick go through these emails and then we'll say sayonara. Don't know who that is. I 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 kind of know who that is. Don't know who that is. And 290 people came to watch. You probably should be, mate. 290 people came to watch Disruption. And we're all good. 96%. So we're so close to becoming a cult promotion. But that is all for the next video. So if you enjoyed this video, then please like and share the video. You can also leave a comment on the video should you choose to that. If you've played this game before and you've seen or used Adam's Angle, please let me know. Because is it the same every time or is it different or can you not remember? But yeah, that was... apologies for the getting sidetracked then. I just had to use it. I felt like, well, if it's come up, I've got to use it. So yeah, apologies for that. But yeah, while you're here on YouTube, if you head on over to the channel, The Uncommentator, you'll find the rest of the videos in this playlist. You can watch a video without Adam's Angle taking place if you didn't like it. Also, if you like wrestling, there is other wrestling content for you to enjoy. I've played this game before, a different version of it, an older database where I booked PWG. I've also played WWE Crush Hour, where I won the Women's Championship with Lita. So if that sounds appealing, go and check that out. If you don't like wrestling, I'm not entirely sure how you've made it this far, but if that is the case, there is lots and lots of non-wrestling related content for you to enjoy, including Star Fox, Kirby's Dream Course, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snap, Game Ground, Crash Bash, and everything else in between. But join me next time. We're going to be moving on. I don't know when that's going to be, because I've got a lot of things coming up at the moment which will make recording difficult. But to get that point, anyway, for now from me, it is sayonara.